years old. So
I got you. I'm not.
Negative.
No, I get it.
In
So
the sector, I just know that I've been very, very active on this case, and
Yes,
I'm not
I
seeing
understand.
the same amount of activity or near it in my direction.
okay. So what about? Are you available on June 12th?
Yep.
You mind if I?
No, go right
What's
ahead.
next?
And then you as well, Mr. Brandon. Are you available on June 12th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Save a bullet while you can. Finally, some action.
Would you be able to?
As long as it's a Thursday, it's got to be a Thursday.
Okay. Then June 12th it is. Then.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, that's enough dates to get everything organized.
So I'm gonna reset this.
I was just preferring Wednesday.
Going.
Okay, and
Is there
remember,
anything
this
for-
is just a discovery hearing, so it should be in and out. Did they comply? Yes, no, and then we will set it for trial because
Is
we're
there
gonna
anything for me that I
babysit.
need to bring to that hearing?
Not at all. It's all on him. He's got to bring all the
Okay.
paperwork. For You already requested the discovery. It's his job to provide it now, and that's why I went through it each one by one, so he's aware of what needs to be provided.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So he's gonna send it to you. Take this folder, bring it back to me during trial. I don't want to be responsible for that, and I want to keep that and make sure that I have that for trial. Okay. All right.
So you
So
said he's sending
Yes.
it to me, like it's gonna come in my
Yes.
mail, or?
yes. So do you want him to?
Okay.
Do you want to provide an email, maybe?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I
Okay.
can provide an email.
Swing around here to the right. I
Okay.
don't mention it out loud because
Finally,
everybody on
some
YouTube's
action.
gonna know it. All right, Mr. Brandon.
All right,
save
that
the
is
world.
about it. There's still about 10 seconds left, but they're finished. I don't know when I cut it out. But closing statements. I do think this guy is leaning soft sit. I really do, which is why I put soft sit adjacent in. Some of his arguments just they don't work.
Whatever you say.
But he's doing a lot of research. He fought a lot of motions. As far as pro se
Yes.
goes, he didn't
Yep.
do a bad job.
Okay.
A lot of his arguments did have merit. Some of them didn't.
Soldat. Glad
But
to assist.
the attorney on the other
Okay.
side, you can tell he's green.
Okay.
I'm not going to say he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just not very fast. He's not very fast to respond. He also seems to not be very affirmative. You know, the one example I had is he didn't say no,
Prepare
we're
for
not going to do
impact.
that. We don't have to. Instead, he kind of beat around the bush and said that's not normal. And that he said that a couple times, and the judge actually started saying it because he said it so many times. All right, yeah, that's
Understood,
about
yes.
it. So please hit the like button
Okay.
if you enjoyed it. I would appreciate it. And June, what did they say? June 12th, I think. I don't remember. June 6th, maybe. I wrote it down. I don't remember what they said, but I will watch that hearing, and then we'll absolutely watch the trial. Hopefully, I'm right, and this guy
I'll be right
does
over.
start going soft sit, but maybe he's just a try-hard pro set, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, that's it. Have a great day. Until next time, bye.
Before you get out, we're gonna give you Mr. Jones's email so that way y'all can provide better communication a lot faster.
Okay, and then, Your Honor, are you going to be signing an order granting
Affirmative.
discovery?
Yes, my
Okay.
clerk is gonna
Okay.
go ahead and make that order right now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and we'll review it as well. What do you mean?
I'll be right over.
it because I was just speeding to pass a car. That's it. That's all, Your Honor. And that's the break that I was looking to get. If I'm accused of speeding, I apologize.
This is a citation. It was issued on April 4th of this year on US 131 there in
I'll be right
Gunplay
over.
Township. This is a speeding citation on an actual
Glad to
88
assist.
and a 70. However, it was only
Yep.
written as 6 to 10 over. So, Ms. Aguilar, you are here on this 6 to 10 over speeder to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility
Yep.
to the
Ready
citation.
for duty?
Or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation to court as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
Number two,
Okay. And what is it you'd like to tell me?
Your Honor, I'd like to explain what happened that day when I received the citation. I was in the left lane passing a slower moving vehicle, and I did increase my speed briefly in order to pass and merge back into the right lane. But I was not driving recklessly. I was pulled over shortly after by the officer who was originally traveling the opposite direction and made a U-turn on that highway. Given the circumstance and nearby traffic, I'm not even sure the speed he clocked was mine. I thought I was pulled over because at the time I did not have my license plate attached to the back. It was in my front seat. So I was not aware of getting pulled over for speed. I just thought it was my car needing the identification. During the stop, the officer did conduct the conduction or the interaction made me uncomfortable. He questioned several times about alcohol and drugs, despite there being no evidence. He kept pressuring that, so that kind of made me like really scared. But he did peer through my windows of the car. The car is brand new. So there's really nothing there. I've never been in trouble before. I have a really good driving record. I do take driving seriously. I lost my brother to a reckless driver. I'm just asking the court to just please take the circumstances into consideration when reviewing the citation.
Okay. Well, ma'am, if you contested the citation, I would hear evidence and decide whether or not you were responsible or not. You're admitting responsibility to the citation, so I can't change the nature of your ticket. Now, lots of times what people, when they come in here, what they're concerned about is getting points on their license. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Is that what you're concerned about?
I'm concerned about the points and the amount. I'm just concerned about it all, Your Honor. Like, this is my first ticket I'm trying to fight.
Well, first of all, the officer didn't write you a ticket for going 88 and a 70. The trooper gave you a break and wrote you the second wimpiest ticket he could write you. I think this is only a 1-point ticket. But here's what I'll explain to you about points. I'm not going to give you points on this. The trooper didn't give you points on this. Points don't come from us. All right, that fines and costs is the only penalty. Now, points come from Secretary of State. Secretary of State court, two different animals. They can't tell me what to do. I can't tell them what to do.
Okay.
But here's what I would say about points. First of all, points die a natural death every 2 years. So if you want to, just outweight this point and it will go away after 2 years. But maybe more to the point, if this is what concerns you, is there's a way for you to get rid of that point. But all I can do is explain to you how to do it for yourself. I can't do it for you. But are you curious?
I am curious. I'm also curious to know if I don't know, like this is my first time. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I'm trying to fight it. I'm just agreeing with the officer. I honestly don't even remember that day how much speed I went, because like I said, he was traveling opposite and there was multiple cars and he was behind another car.
Here's a couple of things I would tell you. First of all, we do not mind people coming in here and you know, essentially saying, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to see what happens, and you know, this is what I want. The first thing first is, you know, when you're telling me I thought I got pulled over for no plate, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because the trooper, if he's coming at you the opposite way, he wouldn't know you didn't have a plate on the back of your car. So to spin around on you and pull you over is probably for a moving violation.
Well,
the other thing is, what's that?
I am so sorry, Your Honor. You can finish. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
The other thing is, most of the people don't realize just how far away that they're getting radared by that. So in other words, it would be the opposite direction radar in the front of the trooper's vehicle. Yes, you likely got radared when you were passing someone, and that's why it was 88. I will tell you this, though. The actual law is you still can only go up to the speed limit to pass somebody. That's how slow somebody's supposed to be going for you to pass them. You were allowed to go up to 70 to pass, but passing is not an exception to the speeding rule. You still only can go the speed limit. But like I said, if you don't remember how fast you're going, the trooper's testimony would have been, of course, that his radar said 88 and that he checked his radar. So if you had had a hearing, I likely would have found you responsible. But here we are, sort of on the back end. But here's what I can tell you about points. On the Secretary of State's website, they have something called the Basic Driver Improvement Course. It's a safe driving quiz that you take online. I can't imagine it's very hard. It just takes up some of your day.
Yes.
Here are the 3 rules for it. You can't be a CDL driver, right? That means driving the big rigs. You're not driving the big rigs, right? 2, you can't be carrying more than 2 points on your license already. You wouldn't be because you said I got this good driving record before this. And 3, you can't have taken this test before to get rid of points, which I don't imagine you have before. You don't get to keep using this trick, but if you go to the Secretary of State's website and you take that basic driver improvement course, the carrot they give you is they'll remove the points from any one moving violation, which is what this is. So you have the opportunity to make it 0 points, but you have to jump through those hoops yourself. I can't do it for you. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
All right. So otherwise, all that's left for you to do is, for us here on this ticket, is to call the district court to make arrangements to pay that fines and costs. And the point will either go away after 2 years, or you can make it go away if you want to take those steps. All right?
All right. I do have a question. If we're able to pull the footage of that day, because the officer did say his camera was on. And when I was passing the car, he wasn't behind me like right away. It was a few miles down the road, and then he went behind me. So that's why I thought it was my license, not the
I will
speed.
let the trooper correct me, but when they say that, the camera comes on when they turn on lights and sirens. So it wouldn't have been on coming at you when it caught you speeding, and then he looped around on you, and then if to pull you over, he put his lights on. That's the camera footage he'd have, not of the speeding incident.
Can he pull that's so difficult. That's since there is no proof, and he said I was going 88 and I'm just agreeing to it. What do I do, Your Honor?
Well, you could fight the ticket, but like I said, I know what his testimony is going to be, and your testimony is going to be, I really don't know how fast I was going. So
But
there's not much.
You just said he didn't have. You just said that there was the radar doesn't. He can't prove that radar was my car when he was trying.
No, ma'am. That's sort of a misunderstanding. Proof comes in many different forms, right? Now, if he had video footage, right, that would be one type of proof. But his testimony is in fact proof, because he would be under oath and he would testify as to your speed. That is proof.
And for mine, can I be under oath and testify?
You would be under oath as well, but your proof would be, I really don't know how fast I was going. I just don't think I was going that fast. Which one of those 2 proofs sounds more firm and that I would go with at the end of the day?
Well, I would go with mine because the officer was really traveling the opposite direction. And I know I'm a safe driver. That's why I said I don't know. And that's why I was so confused when he pulled me over, was because
Ma'am, would you like to have a hearing?
If that's possible, yeah, I think I would.
All right. So, Trooper, if you would go ahead and raise your right hand.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Aguilar, go ahead and raise your right hand.
I apologize about the video as well. I'm having connectivity issues.
That's all right, as long as I can hear you. You swear or affirm any testimony you give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. It is.
All right. Ms. Aguilar, it makes a lot more sense to me to start with the trooper. He has the burden to establish to me why you were issued a citation in the first place. But after that, you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify on your own behalf, all right?
Okay.
And with that, Trooper, if you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation.
Yes, sir. I'd like the court to know, to start off, that I'm a certified MCOLS radar operator. The unit that I was using on the day that I issued the citation is certified by the state of Michigan radar unit. The radar unit that I was using is affixed to my patrol car dash. And I verified the working condition of the radar at the beginning and end of my shift, as I do every single day. On this specific day, on April 4th of 2025, approximately 7:49 a.m., in the county of Allegan, township of Gunplain, I was actually working stationary radar patrol in the median just north of 106th Ave. I was facing oncoming traffic, so southbound traffic, while my patrol car was facing northbound. While doing so, I activated my stationary radar, opposite direction radar, at which time I observed a white Nissan passenger car pass through the operational range or beam of my radar. At this time, I observed the vehicle traveling 88 miles an hour in a 70-mile-per-hour zone, and subsequently initiated a traffic stop of the vehicle and identified the driver as Miss Aguilar. And after a brief investigation, issued a citation for 6 to 10 over rather than the 18 over that I observed her traveling. I would like the court to know that my radar unit was free of any obstructions. The vehicle that I was tracking was the vehicle being driven by Miss Aguilar. I know that because as the vehicle passed through the operational range of my radar, I heard an audible tone corresponding with the speed. And then once the vehicle passed through the operational range of my radar, the tone ceased to exist. So I'm confident the target vehicle was the vehicle that I stopped, and the driver of the vehicle was the driver that I issued the citation to.
Ready for duty?
And Trooper, I'm just going to ask you a question or two because I know that Miss Aguilar is interested in how this works. You testified that you checked your radar at the beginning and end of your shift. I'm assuming what you mean by that is you checked it against your separately calibrated speedometer.
Correct. So we're required at the beginning and end of every shift. It's actually on our program or on our daily system where we check and track the condition of the radar to make sure it's working in proper condition, that everything is accurate, and that there is nothing is inaccurate, nor is it not functioning properly.
And then let me ask you, Trooper, if during the check at the beginning of your shift, it did not check out, what would you do?
Yes.
I would not be able to conduct radar. I would have to immediately contact Wheels or our technicians to come immediately and fix and calibrate and make sure to get the radar in working condition. It's actually, we are not allowed to use that radar unit if at any point in time it is not in proper working condition.
And then if it was working at beginning of shift, you wrote tickets all day, and then at your end of the shift, there was a problem with the radar. What would you do with the tickets you wrote all day?
They would immediately have to be voided.
All right. And so, Ms. Aguilar, I'll turn this over to you now. So it's your turn to either testify on your own behalf or ask questions of the trooper.
Prepare for impact.
I would like to get proof. I feel like I should see the video to testify for the proof.
Ma'am,
To see
the enormous amount of evidence that he just testified to is the proof, just so we're clear.
Yeah, he said that he was clocking south, but I saw him while traveling before passing. He was moving and making a U-turn. He wasn't sitting still. He wasn't. That's why I'm really confident that there was other passing vehicles. And he said that he's confident that the radar did read, and that's not technically proof. Like he's just verbally saying confident. And then he was behind a different car before.
No, ma'am. I'm gonna sort of crawl through this because if there was somebody else behind you, we wouldn't do this. But I want you to leave here understanding what happened.
Next.
Okay.
So what he testified to is he's literally just sitting there with his radar on, right?
Let's go.
So to make sure that the radar works correctly, in the beginning of his shift, his radar has to check against a separately calibrated speedometer in his vehicle and come up with the same reading. If it doesn't, he can't use the radar all day. Then he uses the radar all day, and he does that check at the end of the shift too. And if it's not working at the end of the shift against his separately calibrated speedometer, he would just void all the tickets that he wrote.
Right.
So the first thing he said is visually he sees your car, right? Now we would let back in the old days, you'd let officers or troopers guess at speeds because this is what they do all day and they're pretty good at guessing speed. But we don't let them say how fast you're going. But we do let them testify that they think this automobile is traveling above the speed limit of 70 miles an hour, which he did. Okay. Then what he did is get you with his radar, right? So he knows that you're the car in the radar because it tones out. In other words, it makes an audible tone. And the audible tone changes in pitch depending on how fast it goes. So he also knows if that tone doesn't match the number he's seeing, something's wrong.
I'll be right
And
back.
then once your car is out of the cone of his radar, the tone stops. That's how he knows it's sort of your car. Then he sort of flipped around on you and pulled you over. So he actually has testified 3 different ways that you are traveling well above the speed limit of 70. And what you're telling me is, I don't know how fast I'm going, but I just don't think I was going that fast. Now I have to pick one of those sets of evidence, right? Either your evidence, which is your testimony, or his evidence, which is his testimony. And I don't have to find beyond a reasonable doubt. You've heard that before, right? Because this isn't a crime. The standard for this, because it's a civil infraction, is you likely did it, 51%. So when I weigh all his evidence and testimony versus essentially the lack of evidence and testimony on your behalf, of course I would find it is more likely than not that you were actually speeding. You were actually going faster than the ticket you were written, but you were at least going 6 to 10 over. And that's why I would find you responsible.
Yep.
If you're searching for more than that, or that doesn't feel like a sufficient explanation to you, I don't know what else I can do for you, man.
Yep.
That's how this works all day, every day.
I understand, Your Honor. Is it possible confirmation from his radar to make sure that it was working accurately that day for me?
Well, I mean, I could have him testify to that, but we're going to wrap things up here. Every, I think, 90 days or so, a tier 3 operator checks the radars, and then every 120 days, a tier 4 operator checks all the radars of the car. And if there's any problem with any of the radars, they take those out of order. And there is some sort of maintenance logbook that the state police keep for that. You probably could subpoena those records or ask at a formal hearing that somebody would bring those records in. But at informal hearing, I would not expect the trooper to be familiar with those records at this state and time. Just know that there is, in fact, a method of continuously checking these radars that if there are problems, they're taken out of circulation. So that they're in circulation is sort of the prima facie evidence that against that set of checks, they are working.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want you to
Makes sense.
that I wasn't driving recklessly. I was just passing. I do apologize.
Ma'am,
if-
Reckless driving is actually a crime. There is a whole charge for reckless driving. That's not what you have. You just have a charge of speeding, like lots
that's
of
what I'm
people do.
take into consideration if the ticket can be waived because I am a responsible, good driver.
What's the best course?
And ma'am, here's the problem, right? If what we did was judge everybody who gets a ticket on whether or not they're a good driver or not, that would be incredibly unfair. So bad drivers are just automatically responsible for their tickets because they did it in the past, or good drivers couldn't possibly be speeding because they've never got a speeding ticket before. That's sort of not, I mean, it's scary that that would be how the legal system works, right? I would judge this circumstance just on this circumstance, this time frame, and the facts that are presented before me, which is exactly what we did. Now, as far as getting a break, you did get a break. You got a break on the side of the road where this trooper decided to write you a ticket that's a third less than what he could have written you for, right?
What could he have written me? I don't know what he could have written me for because.
Well, ma'am, if you're going 88 in a 70, how many miles over the speed limit is that? 18 miles, right?
Okay.
Well, that's what he's saying, and I was agreeing. So obviously, I have to own up to that.
No,
so,
ma'am.
yeah.
Even if we stopped doing that. I didn't take it that you agreed. We had a hearing, and I found clearly that you were going 18 miles over the speed limit. He did not write you a ticket for that, because that's a 15 to 20 over. That's not what you're here on. That's not what I just found you guilty on. I found you guilty on a 6 to 10. He could have written you a 10 to 15, and you would have been responsible on that. He could have wrote you a 6 to 10. He could have wrote you a 1 to 5. He not only gave you a break 1 down, he gave you a break 2 tickets down. And you're still here just saying nobody gave you a break, right?
No, you're misunderstanding me because I'm not aware of breaks and tickets. This is my first one, so I hope you understand that I don't know that that is a break. But thank you for informing me about that. I'm here to fight it because I was just speeding to pass a car. That's it. That's all, Your Honor. And that's the break that I was looking to get. If I'm accused of speeding, I apologize. I was just passing a car in the left lane and got back over. He then was traveling behind a different car, turned his lights on, then came to me, and then I pulled over. Like I said,
it takes a while for him to catch up to you, right? Because you're going
he didn't take a while.
70-something miles an hour, and he's going no miles an hour. He has to turn around and come after you. Takes a while. But one more thing, Miss Aguilar, because you had a contested hearing, you now do have a right to go to what's called formal hearing. Formal hearing is in front of the district court judges with the prosecutor's office. But to go to formal hearing, you must do two things. One is you must ask for that within 7 days of today's date. Your window of opportunity to contest this further closes after 7 days. And two, you must come in and post a cash bond in the same amount as the fine to guarantee your appearance at formal hearing. Do you understand your rights on appeal?
Ready for duty?
Yes, I do.
All right. Then we're all set for what we need to do here today. I'm going to go ahead and release parties. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too.
Uh-huh. Sure thing. Let's go. What's the best course of action? Yep. Whatever you say. Ready for duty?
Body cam footage shows the aftermath of an enraged and wealthy driver who rammed his Porsche into a traffic control construction worker.
He comes to a stop, and then I'm like, all right, back. So I stop like this to stand in front of him, and then he continues to accelerate into my legs to get me to move out the way, and he's like looking at me like yelling, and that's when I got mad. I was
you're yelling at him to stop.
Yeah, I'm like, you just stop. Yeah, but he could like, I understand when somebody lets go of their brakes and then their car hits you a little bit. This dude pushed my legs in with his car. Like,
I need any medical.
No, trust me. I've been
but the car definitely did hit you.
But he hit me like he stepped on the gas to get the fuck out of his way, and that's what he was implying.
Even after, I know this is stupid because we're between, this is a crash hit and run, and between this is like an aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, so
it goes from one criminal charge to another criminal charge. One's felony,
so
one's
I had him.
So I'm just trying to make sure I have all the elements.
Yeah, so I have like the whole crew of people that seen it down there because they was all on the equipment, so they watched all of this go down, and they were like, "Yo, what the f is he doing?" So I said, "Stop."
Yeah.
He pushes his car right up on my legs and tries to move me out of my way. And then that's when I'm like, yo, you're seriously gonna fucking hit me with your car right now? And then he's like, oh, like, I need to go and turn left here. Like, I need to turn left. And I'm like, bro, I don't care. You're not gonna hit me with your car. I'm trying to meet me out your way. And then he was like, oh, I didn't mean to. And I was like, no, bro, you that's not.
So you let him know that he hit you?
Yeah, I let him know. I let him know that I hit my legs. Yeah, and then he drove off. So.
All right. So it sounds like this is more of an aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Is that how you want to pursue with things? Do you want to pursue with charges for that?
I mean, to be honest with you, yeah. I just don't have any, like, I'm not physically hurt. So, I mean, but if that still counts under it, then
if we have witnesses and you're saying that the vehicle did touch you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not doubting you on that at all. That dude drove his whole hood into my leg and tried to push me, like, with his car for a second, and I was like, bro.
All right, you can use the back of my car. I just need basic information here at the top. Just explain the whole situation. You're here directing traffic, and then what happened after that. I mean, be as clear as, like, the stuff I told you to repeat, just kind of repeat that in there.
After finding the location of the possible suspect at a nearby home, an officer checks with the residents there.
Hello? You Donald? They're Donald that resides here, that drives that?
Yes.
Come here. Where is he? Is he friendly?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, hold on.
All right.
Okay, here. Come here. Hello. How are you?
Good. I just got some questions for you today. Before I ask the questions, I gotta read you something from this card. I'm Deputy Lane with the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. I'm here investigating an aggravated battery. I have to read you the back of the card now. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used as evidence against you. Do you understand these rights?
Sure.
Okay. With these rights in mind, are you still willing to talk to me?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what this is about.
I said it's in reference to an investigation for an aggravated battery.
Me?
Yes.
Again, I don't even know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Charlie 111 Flagler. I'm 1012 with my suspect. I mean, it's a yes or no. Are you still willing to talk to me?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So earlier today, were you driving that Porsche?
I was.
Were you on Camino del Rey with all that construction going on?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Do you mind just telling me what happened with the person directing traffic, if you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I think I do.
Okay.
They wouldn't allow us to turn left there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of commotion. Traffic was going through real fast, and a lot of different things going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Can I go straight?" And he said yes. So I went straight and then come back down so I could turn into this, make a left turn in there, because they weren't allowing us. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
So I went that way, and sure enough, there was a lot of traffic there, so we waited. So we all waited a little while longer, and finally it went to slow in that lane.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled out, and if what you're talking about, there was a fella, when I started going down, hoping that I'd get down there and make that left turn because all this equipment was parked there. So when I went down there, I could see a fella come out. There was one guy on the left and another one came out on the right side, and he came running up to me like this, and he ran up to the hood of my car.
Yeah.
And he ran right up to the hood of my car.
Yeah.
And he hit my car. I was stopping at the time. So I walked around to the window and he says, "What are you f***ing trying to run over me?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry if you thought that. I was stopping. You ran up to my car and I was moving slow. I mean, it was maybe 1 mile an hour because we were almost stopped. I mean, I didn't hit that person, if that's where you're going with all this. He ran right up to the car and hit the front of the car.
So that it wasn't your intention to hit him?
Of course not.
Because, I mean, he's claiming that he had you stopped, and then you revved your engine and went into him, and I have 2 witnesses also corroborating that story.
Other workers there?
Yeah.
No, I never. He came right up to me and...
Was anybody in the car with you?
No.
It was just you? Okay.
And he came right up to me, and I think he hit the car, and he said, "Stop." And the car might have moved right there. He was running. I mean, he was not running fast, but he was coming up there like that, and he wanted the car. And, I mean, why would I run over somebody? I mean, that's just somebody maybe is looking, I'm driving a nice car, maybe taking advantage of the situation.
Yes. I can see if he just claimed that we had no other witnesses, but I mean the other witnesses' stories were almost exactly the same, and I spoke to them, separately, making sure I'm doing my due diligence with the investigation here, and they both described the same exact incident, that you came out into oncoming traffic, not listening to them.
It wasn't not listening.
I know, it's not oncoming. No, I know it's not oncoming traffic. It was down to 1 lane, but it was still a lane that you weren't supposed to be in at that time. And they said you were impatient, you came out, and then you stopped, and then he's waving you down, told you to stop, and then he's waiting for the other traffic, and then that's when you hit him with the car.
There was no other traffic, and I didn't hit him with the car. He ran up to the car. I mean, with the confusion going on, the car could have lunged a little bit, but nothing like I gave it the gas and tried to run him over or anything like that.
Okay. That's not like a manual transmission, anything like
Pardon
that?
me?
It's not a manual transmission? It's automatic?
It's automatic.
Okay, all right.
They had all sorts of aggravated people trying to turn around on the road, trying to go that
I understand.
way.
All right.
It was a
If
mess.
you wouldn't mind with me just standing at the end of the driveway, we're going to have the victim come and drive by and see if he can identify you.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind just standing over here in the grass, it'd be appreciated.
Claiming he was hurt or something like that, or
He's not claiming he was hurt, but he was claiming he was hit by a car. And in the state of Florida, that counts as aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. The way he and 2 other third-party witnesses are stating it happened is you were impatient, you came out, and you saw that he was there, and then you revved your engine and kept claiming you need to get around him, and then that's when you struck him with the vehicle, pushing him back.
When he was there, he was in front of the car. He stopped, so I couldn't go anywhere, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I tried to explain to him, I'm just trying to turn left into this intersection.
I understand, but when somebody in a yellow jacket who's directing traffic around, construction going on, you need to abide by the the traffic control devices that they have set up.
Well, it was confusing because it had turned
111 on 3.
slow. It had turned too slow, and then the sign went to slow, and I couldn't tell how many cars. There were other cars that were workers in that lane.
Okay, just stand right there for me, okay?
Still stay here?
Yes, just until the patrol car passes by.
Did he explain to you what we're doing?
Yeah, he said. That I'm pretty much gonna like identify him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is right there on that little bend before we came in, or not like I guess on that side. If we would have kept going straight, this is where he actually did it, and then he said he had to turn in left. He was freaking out, saying he had to turn left.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Officers then conducted a show-up as part of their investigation. These are used in instances when a suspect is apprehended in close proximity to the crime and within a reasonable time frame. In addition to location and timing, if the physical description reasonably matches the suspect, a show-up may be performed. During a show-up, multiple procedures will take place. The victim and/or witness will be transported to an appropriate location to identify the suspect. In the case of multiple victims and/or witnesses, they must be separated. Victims and/or witnesses will be notified beforehand that the suspect may or may not be the perpetrator. Immediately after the show-up, the victim or witness should provide a statement about their level of confidence in the identification. People involved are prohibited from making any suggestive remarks that may sway the identifier one way or the other, and the show-up must be thoroughly documented regarding each and every detail.
I mean, he's got his fucking glasses off, but yeah, it's the same shirt, and it's literally the same hair.
Alright, so are you 100%?
Yeah, it's like literally the exact same Porsche. The only thing that's different now is he doesn't have his sunglasses on, and I think he was wearing a black hat too, but I don't think he's got that on either.
The only difference, he just doesn't have his...
He just doesn't have the glasses and the hat on, but the same gray hair, the same face, the same shirt.
I mean, based on the witness statements, based on the victim identifying you as driving the Porsche that he photographed, you know, hitting him, I have probable cause to make an arrest for a aggravated battery.
Craziest thing I've ever like he was hit with a car.
Okay, I just got a few more questions for you. Do you know what year it is?
Do I know what year it is?
Yes, I know they're going to sound crazy. It's just something I have to put in my report.
1922.
Do you know who the President of the United States is?
Biden.
Do you have any weapons on you? Anything I should be aware of?
No.
Okay. No knives, guns, anything like that? Yeah, on you.
No.
You don't have anything? Okay. You've been compliant with me. I don't have to put the handcuffs on behind you. I'll just put them on in the front so it's more comfortable while we drive down. Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh, he's arresting me for some loony that is claiming I hit him with the car. And he ran up, put his hood on the car, put his hands on the car, and there were his other buddies were standing there and probably, and then he was swearing, cussing, and said, you gonna run me over or something like that. No.
So if you wouldn't mind just putting your hands out like that.
Wait, let me.
Oh, this is absurd.
Of course. You know what this is all about.
Okay.
Okay.
You're not having any medical complaints?
Right now?
No. Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right. Am I just walking me down to my car over here?
It's worse than we anticipated. How bad are we talking? Whatever you have in mind, triple it.
You must be joking, right?
I'm afraid not. From what I've seen in the reports, it takes several whole engines just to move it.
Bloody hell. How massive is this monstrosity? So, what are our options here?
If we're smart enough about where we place my explosives, we might have just enough to bring this thing down.
With a weapon this powerful, we can be certain a member of the Speerspitze is overseeing this project. It must be felt if he's here, we should take him out. One less of these megalomaniacs to deal with.
I'm itching to see this thing blown to pieces. Whoa, take it easy on the trigger, huh?
I don't think there's enough firepower left in my explosives to take out the cannon.
Then we must find another way.
Afraid that's not possible. Afraid that's not possible. Negative. I'll be right over.
So where
I can.
are you going?
I can explain everything to you. We'll just do it at my car once he's, secured in my back seat, and I'll let you know.
Do you want me to come with you?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. So before I put you back there, I just have to pat you down just to make sure there's nothing else on you that I should be aware of. Any other property? All right. Just take a seat in the back seat. You just kind of slide in like you normally would, and then that's made so that I can buckle you.
Okay.
Short neck. Sorry about that. All right. I can open that partition for you to let some AC back. It is going to get a little hot because it's not easily ventilated.
Earlier today, he was driving with Porsche. What happened was, according to the victim and two other witnesses, he cut out into the oncoming lane against their wishes. They're telling him, "Hey, stop, stay here, and you can't go." He cuts out. Then he was told to stop by our victim. The victim, comes over, has him stop. He apparently stops in the roadway, and then he's standing in front of the vehicle, and then that's when he revs his engine and drives into him. Thus
That's hard for me to believe because he is a gentleman.
I understand. We're going off of two witnesses, and the victim's statements. They're all exactly the same. I had to drive back and forth to different locations where these workers were, and I asked them these questions, separately, and they all gave the same exact story.
Well, maybe they all talk to one another, instead of, "Hey,
that's
here
why.
we go.
That's
Here we
why.
got a guy in a porch. Let's just."
That's why it was handled the way it was. They had no idea the police were called. It was actually the victim who called on his own. It wasn't like a job site. They were like, well, "What are you guys here for?" They had no idea. So
I just find that really. I mean, he would not. He's the kindest man you ever met in your life.
I understand, but that's what we're going off.
So now what happens?
He's going to be transported down to the Flagler County Inmate Facility in Bunnell.
Oh, you got to be kidding me!
He committed a felony, man. That's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. I don't have any discretion when it comes to making a felony arrest.
All right, so you're taking him to you're taking him to prison?
The jail, ma'am.
Can I go there now? Or can he come out of here once?
It's gonna be a while before he's booked in. It's gonna be at least 2 hours before he's booked in, and then.
Sir, stay over there.
He was over.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
All right. Any further questions?
No. So do you have